Stuff makes you irresistible to women.
Loose now. Everybody let loose. Come on, loose now. Banana, onion, juice. Hey, this is loose. Put it together, it's really cool. There's onions and potatoes too. But the whole skin makes you go whoop whoop. Makes your ding ding go ding 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 ding. Get the bananas. Don't forget, put it in your shoes. My turn.
Woo!
So this is our smoking blend. It features 2 different types of CBD bud, marijuana. It's got tobacco, several different types, mainly pipe tobacco. We mix some regular cigarettes. We even take the insides of Philly blunts and put them in. There's blue lotus flower, wild daga, canna, numerous other ethnobotanical flowers, and herbs.
I've counted about 107 herbs altogether. It has CBD in it.
Cinnamon, myrrh,
Senati, nettle, cassia,
cloves, apple cinnamon tea.
turmeric.
Yeah, turmeric. There's a tiny bit of borax and baking soda in there too. St. John's wort, mullein, mugwort, damiana.
Chamomile.
Yeah. So the end result is a delicious smoking blend. It takes about a day or 2 to cure, and while it's curing, it tastes disgusting, but when it's done, it actually tastes really good. And the nicotine gives you kind of an instant buzz. The CBD kind of builds off that and adds to it. And then if you smoke it all day long, by the end of the day, you feel really good. There's some antidepressant effects from the canna, also the St. John's wort. There's an not expectorant. Yeah, there is an expectorant effect actually from the wild daga.
And like a steroid effect, you think?
Yeah,
like
the canna
physical?
supposedly raises your testosterone, but I think the cinnamon will probably increase your estrogen. Yeah, I think that the silica is really like the red pill in the Matrix. It says do not eat because, in my opinion, it forms covalent permanent bonds with the carbon in your body, creating a carbon silicate entity out of what was once only a carbon entity. And it seems to change your density. It makes you more symmetrical. It makes you think better. You feel younger. It helps with just about helps with everything. And eventually, if you take it enough consistently, you'll start to have what they call morgellons coming out of your body, which really everyone has these things, morgellons. Some people describe it as a sensation like there's bugs under their skin, and then they start to get little things fibers and stuff coming out of their body. But in my opinion, these things that we call morgellons are the byproduct of an electromagnetic parasite known as archons or genies. And
that's a big cover-up, really.
Yeah, and it's really a big cover-up because the archons and the genies, they control the realm we live in. They create a false reality. They create the enjoyment of delusion, and the human beings, for the most part, listen to them unknowingly. And when you take the silica, maybe it changes your density or something, but they start to come out of you. Well, last winter, we used to live outside in the snow in New York. We stayed under a trailer where we kind of tried to make walls out of random things. And we had a bunch of blankets on the inside. It was actually pretty warm. It wasn't too bad. Some of our best memories are under that trailer. And it was a lot of fun. It was a test. And I think that we passed. We wake up every morning. It gets really cold right before the sun comes up. So we wake up early to spend all day in town. Bottle of cough syrup, dextromethorphan. We used to mix that with kratom, and it has kind of a synergy effect where it causes the kratom to cross to the mu opioid receptor from the delta opioid receptor, or something like that. But since then, we've given up our life of drugs. We used to be poly addicts, addicted to crack, PCP, weed, K2, Molly, kratom, cough syrup, basically anything we can get our hands on.
But God saved our lives, and when we turn to God, He comes running to you. Like, if you walk to God, He runs to you, so... Can I have some more city juice?
So when it comes to our life, we spend all day inside. We mainly study the Quran and other related texts, the Bible, the Torah, the Alexander romances, even some of the Buddhist and Hindu scriptures, and any books relating to those. We used to live a very different life. In New York, there was too much temptation, too much of the satanic agenda.
I'm grateful for what happened to me in upstate New York, New Paltz. At the time, you know, I was just finding out about the truth. And when you introduce yourself to the truth, you're also introducing yourself to your whole life falling apart. And it's really a risk you gotta take. And it shows if you're devoted to the truth. Do you wanna just not risk it and not live the truth, or would you rather risk it and really come to a better place eventually? It was a hardship from living under the trailer to being evicted innumerable amounts of times for no reason. So it kind of like blows your mind, you know, like just randomly getting evicted, paying rent, it wasn't bad. You know, there was moments you feel like you might freeze to death, but you know, we could keep each other warm, and we're kind of just going off God's blessing that we didn't freeze to death. But I naturally would go into kind of like a hot body state, like a furnace mode, and you know, warm myself up. It was like 20 to below zero outside, blizzarding. And I was right there, and you know, you get used to the cold if you're not sitting in a hot, unnaturally heated room all day. You know?
Did you get sick ever?
No, I didn't get sick. Actually,
did you have the flu?
No, I don't get the flu.
Common cold?
No, I don't get that.
The thing about living off the land is you got to be kind of hypomanic to do it. It kind of turns you into like a wolf-like state. Like you have your cage dogs, which act a certain way, but when they get out into the wild, they all become wolves. And that's kind of what happened to us. Once you become a wolf, I don't know if you can ever go back. But you certainly can live back indoors. But actually adjusting to society is quite hard.
The future is not promised, and God knows better than I, of course. God knows all. I really like this town. It's simple. It has everything I need. You know, it's affordable. So there's nothing really much more. You know, of course, I want to get a car and travel about a bit and, you know, meet people wherever I can and talk to people and warn people and get to know them. But, you know, I wouldn't mind staying here. You know, this life is short. You know, you go, you know, different places, they're different, but in the ways they're the same.
Thing is, okay, so we recently added senna tea into our smoking blend, which has a diuretic effect. And for some reason, it doesn't work inside the house. Inside the house, no diuretic effect.
Oh,
a little bit. Maybe the first day, but for some reason, as soon as I step outside, man, do I have to go. You know, it's a cleansing thing, but they say it gets rid of black magic. I don't know if it's because maybe there's more black magic outside and gets rid of it fast. But yeah, let's see. Basically, my struggle was out of nowhere. I had really bad neck pain. It would keep me up at night, shoulder pain, and I started thinking, maybe this is from electromagnetic parasites. I don't really remember how I reached that conclusion, but I basically, I tried everything. I mean, I couldn't figure out why I had this pain. The doctors tried to tell me I had fibromyalgia, which is just a made-up disease. There's no diagnosis for it. Of course, there is a medication for it, and it probably just makes it worse, like usual. Anyways, after taking the silica a couple times and introducing snort to it, there came one day where we made a tea out of morning glory seeds. Morning glory seeds are easily available at just about anywhere where they sell flowers, and they contain a cousin of LSD called LSA. So we made the tea, and we took the tea, but something was different this time. I've tripped a lot of times. I never really had a mind-blowing, life-changing experience, but this time was different. I didn't really trip or have any hallucinogenic properties or any hallucinations, anything like that. But I went in the bathroom to take a shower, And when I came out, I felt like there was something moving in my eye, and my vision in that eye was really blurry. But in my other eye, I could see like there's some kind of little black thing coming out of my eye. And then after that started to come out, I came in the room and I told Snort, like, I have a metaphysical crisis. I feel like there's bugs in my skin moving around. And at first, she kind of looked at me crazy. But shortly after, she started to feel it too. And sure enough, the first place that it came out was the tape of my neck, which is where they say the genies enter your body in Islamic folklore. Yeah, in Islamic folklore, they say the genies enter your body in the tape of your neck. We immediately felt like we had thousands and thousands of these parasitic entities all around our body. It felt like they were coming out. And we started to get marks all over us. They were painful, very painful marks with kind of fibers and scabs coming out. My life changed for me when I went to Montreal, Quebec in Canada. And their internet is very different. I happen to have got off the bus and I believe I purchased some crack cocaine and I smoked with this random Arab guy, and he gave me a old cell phone for the hookup or whatever. And as it would turn out, the internet in Canada is completely different. And I began to search YouTube, and the more I searched, the more I found out. For one thing, in the US, if you look up flat earth videos, the first 30 videos are going to be flat earth debunked if you look up flat earth videos. And in Canada, it's the exact opposite. At the time anyway, they were actually going out of their way to recommend me flat earth videos, to the point that I was like, all right, I might as well check this out. And they were really well done. The Canadian videos were just a notch of quality better than the videos we usually see on YouTube in America. So right away when I got into the flat earth, I started thinking, isn't that the Buddhist Hindu cosmology? And then I remembered people often critique the Quran for implying that the earth was flat. So as someone who had already accepted Islam,
life is a false reality constructed by God as a test, and around us is a clear delusionment, and it's the handiworks of the elites, but also at the higher level of the shaitan, of Satan. And besides shaitan, there is the evil jinn, which manipulate not only the people, but the realm, the TV, the music, the clothing, the agendas. For the evil jinns that manipulate reality, they possess you, but not only do they possess you, they affect you, and they cause illness, and they cause mental conditions, and they cause a series of problems. The parasitic demons, entities, there's many names for something. Call it rose, all the other names is still a rose. So all these parasitic demons, jinn, their role is to deter you off the straight path. Their job is to turn you to hell. And this is why they really go inside you and make you do bad things. And I had felt a wave throughout my body, and I felt like a gust of wind coming out of the bottoms of my feet. And actually in that moment, my whole perception of reality kind of changed in an instant, as if like a veil was lifted over my eyes. You know, I went from thinking that there was gravity and that, you know, that this reality is honest to me, that this society is honest to me, from from that to being like, for sure the earth is flat, and for sure the Quran is the truth, and for sure, God is all encompassing and knowing of what I'm doing, and there is a test, and there is reward, and there is punishment for the things I'm doing. And from that moment on, I'm not where I was then that I am now, but I've definitely come a very long way since then. But it was a moment of awakening, and I realized it was a presence leaving me, a physical, demonic presence that was within me that left me, and it caused me to have a profound awakening. I felt like a gust of wind for that specific moment coming out of me. I can't say I experienced that again. I'll have a headache, head pain, and then I'll feel kind of like what feels like a kind of a pressure in an area. Then I'll have a mark, kind of like a hole in my head, and so I'll get like black pieces coming out, and that could be that when the demon leaves, it's black magic tools kind of physically come out of me or whatever.
Well, one thing we're noting is we get the same marks on the same parts of our body at the same time. Like, for example, right now, I don't know if the folks at home can see this, but we both have this red dot here, and she has it here. And a lot of people have a deviated septum, which is where you can't breathe out of one nostril, and we both had that a little bit in this nostril. And since it's came out, I've been able to breathe a lot better. Sometimes even after it comes out, it takes a while for everything to get back to
and I spoke with a woman on the phone recently who I was making forum posts about Morgellons and talking about silica, and she reached out to me and she said, like, your post actually spoke really loud to me, that no one really believes me, and everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I really feel like there's demons coming out of me, and that my body's releasing them. And we talked on the phone for like 2.5 hours about it, and it was really deep. And she actually does bathe in borax like us, and drink borax, and really into like special baths and stuff for getting them out, Rukia baths.
Do you want to walk towards Giant or the other way or something? So, when I was 15 years old, I met this man, Marvin Boogaloo Smith, former jazz drummer for the band Sun Ra, and he gave me an attunement to Reiki healing energy. And from this practice, I learned basically how to push and pull energy with my mind and my hands. And the first practice of Reiki 1 is you kind of take your hands and just go over your body, right, slowly and gently. And I used to get these antipsychotic injections, and I noticed that immediately after getting the injections, when doing Reiki 1, I would get what felt like grains of sand coming out of my back and my gluteus maximus, which was the site of the injection at the time. Come to find out, years later, after taking the silica and getting rid of the Morgellons, I'm almost sure that these injections were filled with Morgellons or archons or genies or demons, essentially, which explains my behavior at the time.
I'm sorry, hit me. Beat him, Daddy. Beat him. Oh. Beat him. Oh.
One more, please.
Beat him.
Oh. Silly, you burned my jacket.
Where?
You're burning your jacket.
Where?
I smell a burning jacket. Silly. You don't talk to me like you used to.
What do you mean?
Like that. Tell me more.
I was born by the river. Something gotta change.
Silly. Look me in the eyes, silly. Do you still love me? Do you still love me?
Clap on.
This is an outer space store, and that is a Freemason lodge. And you can see the logo on the side of the building in blue. about the comic you made when you were a kid.
Oh yeah. Before I really like delved into the Earth being flat when I was around maybe 10 years old, I made a comic book that I still remember. I still have at my mom's house, and it was about these two people who build their own rocket ship because they're trying to leave the oppressive world and make, you know, like a new life on a different planet. And they end up shooting themselves up into the sky and getting crashed into the sky itself, and being stuck in like a sky that's flat, like that's a dome. And they're just basically stuck up there for the rest of their lives. And looking back to it, it's almost like I knew the Earth is flat. You know, no one really openly that I recall openly talked about it with me. And yeah, it's still interesting to this day that I drew that comic book, and that I, you know, now think about, you know, I'm stuck knowing the truth, and I'm glad to, you know, to know this reality and this realization.
Yeah, I remember I was a little kid, and I remember looking up at the sky and thinking, well, what if this whole NASA thing is a lie? You know, what if there's no outer space and there's a ceiling up there? And at the time I had my little Velcro shoes on with outer space on the side, glow in the dark. And I was thinking, well, that would be pretty funny, because the heliocentric model, it makes you think you're insignificant. And when you find out that the Earth is a flat plane of existence, all of a sudden, you know, you realize you're in a realm being watched. You know, you're being watched by God and his assembly of angels, and you're accountable for your deeds. Whereas in heliocentrism, you kind of think you're an insignificant ball on a ball floating in space, you know.
This is my favorite soda. I like to go here for it.
So, as you probably all know by now, the Earth is a flat, finite realm. We are encapsulated in a firmament with 7 heavens above us, each having their own firmament, and this structure is most likely on the back of a sea creature. And this giant sea creature, well, giant to us, might be a normal-sized sea creature. Who knows? But it has on its back the Earth realm, the 7 heavens above, and below it's the Hellfire. And our firmament in the Earth realm is made of blue molten glass, which is silica. It's a special type of silica that it's blue until you crack it, and when you crack it, it turns clear. And the sun orbits above the silica in a lake. So above this blue layer of molten glass is water, and the sun is like a lamp swimming in its orbit. The moon reflects the sun, and in between them is a third disk that creates the eclipses and the phases of the moon. It would be in a position, you can even test this, you can walk down the street and ask someone where they're seeing the sun and compare it, and you'll both see it in slightly a different position. That's because it's literally a light shining through water, shining through clear glass, and also being reflected off the waters around us. The moon, you can readily observe clouds behind it. It's also transparent if you really look at it, and it has a reflection of the land on the inner Earth, because that light's reflecting off the sun into this dome, and the moon is beyond this dome, reflecting the continents as the craters, the darkened part of the moon. It's actually a flat Earth map. So everywhere you go, there's music. They use music to control the people. I believe it was Cobra Commander who said, whoever controls the media controls the creation of truth. And I find this to be very true. A lot of songs are written in what's called witch speak, which is, we hear it as something, like Bob Dylan is a perfect example. You hear his lyrics, they don't really make any sense. But to the witches, it makes a lot of sense. They're kind of spells. They feed the demons inside your body. And they kind of keep your mind in a lukewarm state where you're just kind of thinking over and over again about the same damn songs. And that's why on the radio, they don't just play any song. It has to be approved. Most of the musicians are advanced witches. And, you know, just look at the end result. I mean, hip-hop came out, you know, in the late 70s, early 80s. And in just a few generations, turned into outright Satan worship. And these kids now don't even make it past 20, 21, 22, you know. They say that this is Alexander the Great. And in this story, as well as the Alexander romances and some books taken out of the Bible, you have this great king, Alexander the Great, who traveled the world, and he got to the farthest reaches of the earth, where there were these tribes called Gog and Magog, cannibal tribes that ripped out trees instead of picking fruit and would go and terrorize the surrounding nations. So Dul-Qarnayn, Alexander the Great, was faced with a choice. Does he destroy them? Does he help the people? Does he do nothing? And he came to the conclusion to simply build a wall out of steel and brass in between the passage between two giant mountains that make up the Antarctic ring. So he built this wall, and because of the electromagnetic properties of steel and brass, I believe that this structure caused the Antarctic rather, to freeze over, thus imprisoning Gog and Magog until a time well known, when they'll invade from all four corners of the earth. It's believed that they outnumber us 1,000 to 1, as human beings are their main source of food. They basically just eat each other. I started high school in 10th grade because of overcrowding in the school district. You start high school in your sophomore year, and I became class president. My campaign was similar to that of Trump. Everyone went and they read their little speech and they promised this and that. I just went up there and started rapping, and I wore a lime green tiger stripe pimp suit. And yeah, needless to say, it was a landslide victory. Of course, I didn't really do anything once I was class president, and instead I just went the wrong route. When I was 15 and, you know, started high school, I got into all the wrong stuff, smoking weed, girls, everything. By junior year, 11th grade, I think I was 16 or 17 by then, and my life was just in shambles. And I was abusing drugs. I didn't know what I was doing, smoking PCP, coke, anything I could get my hands on, ecstasy pills. And by the first couple months of 12th grade, I'd completely lost my mind. I was totally manic. And so they did what any school would do. They put me in the mental home. And that began a lifelong struggle. I find that the mental illness drugs most often do not help the situation, although you might be so tranquilized, it seems like it's helping.
have all the Muslims and Islam, the religion that was made centuries after the Quran was revealed. And many Muslims pay big money once a year to go make a pilgrimage to Mecca, which not long ago was uninhabited and was not the mother of cities. And they go and kiss the stone idol.
Yeah, they have
called
a
the
meteorite
Kaaba.
or something.
And basically the whole Islamic religion is dictated by these books of hadith.
Which are stories.
Which are stories, and it was written...
and they're transmitted by a chain of narrators over the course of 200 years. And then the actual book is also from a chain of narrators.
Yeah, and the Quran is perfect, and you can understand the Quran by yourself and through reading it. You don't need, a man with a long beard and a books of chains of verbal narration for hundreds of years to tell you what this book is telling you. And it's pretty clear that there's a regime, an agenda behind Islam, what they call Islam, which the word itself means peaceful servant. And it turned into this cultistic religion, as many other religions are. And it'll steer you in the wrong direction if you just blindly follow the tradition of the world around you and the major religions which you need to be inducted into. They will deter you, and it will be a test and a judgment by God.
Well, while I was in Canada, it's pretty much common knowledge that Michael Jackson was a burn victim named David Rothenberg. And so the story goes that in the 1983 Pepsi commercial where Michael Jackson was injured, he was actually severely burned and almost died. And what was left was the shell of a man, more like the Elephant Man. And I decided to seek out Dave. At the time, he hadn't faked his death again, or maybe really died. I don't know if he's dead or alive. I have no idea. But one day, I happened to message Dave on his Instagram account, DaveHQ, from her Instagram account, and we started talking and became friends. But he wanted to video chat, so I put her on, and she took it from there and really became friends with Dave. And
yeah, we would talk on video chat every day, all day, talking. And I remember one of the weirdest moments where it really kind of made me think, well, this is definitely actually Michael Jackson. Because, at first even I was pretty skeptical until I kind of deduced that it makes sense, So I was talking to him, and I was walking on the rail trail with Silly right here, and we found a pile of right-hand gloves. And it was just funny because I was thinking Michael Jackson, one-hand gloves, Dave. And we go home, and I'm talking to him. I don't bring it up, and he says, and I said, I'm going to be getting art supplies, blah, 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 blah. And he says, make sure to bedazzle one glove for me. Hee. And I was just like, what the heck? Did he leave those gloves there? Or, is he watching me, or what was that? Why did I find it was in a row, it was a spread.
so here we are, crackheads living in a cemetery. Eventually we found housing, but one of the friends we had made along our adventures was this guy, Lucky. And Lucky had implied to us once before that he knew about the genies. We had the same markings. He was homeless, also a crackhead, and lived in the woods. And he had told me that his son had demons inside him trying to make him gay. And I noticed we had the same mark. So one day we met up with Lucky, and we decided we'd smoke with him. And as we're smoking, he looks at us, and he pulls up his sleeve. He points at some of these markings, and he's like, you see this? These markings are from the jinn, or the genies. And we hadn't told anyone that we had that belief, and that's specifically what we called them. I don't know how he came to that conclusion, but we were definitely in agreement. And we've also seen other people talk about very similar things, but that was the only person who ever said they were also called the jinn or the genie. I was in the mental home once in Poughkeepsie, and there was this guy, Irving. He had the Star of David, a crescent moon, and a cross inside the Star of David with the crescent moon around it. So kind of like a amalgamation of the three monotheistic religion symbols into one. And he had ripped out all his teeth when he was a postman after the Vietnam War. And he was a veteran. And I don't know if they slipped him some acid or something, but he told me he saw the birds, and the birds was acting like humans. So he ripped out all his teeth. I guess he wanted a beak or something. But he only ate mush, and it's quite healthy. He said it's delicious, and he liked the extra attention he had to get. So, I've met a lot of strange characters in my life.
Putin.
Do the Putin dead. This is better.
Putin. Daddy.
Do injection. Oh, yo, if you could get this, actually. It just showed the sun and the moon orbiting Earth, believe it or not. It's probably, I think it's right after this. There you go. The sun and the moon orbit the Earth. My dad thinks I'm absolutely batshit crazy. My mom knows I'm right, but doesn't want to admit it.
My dad is really cute, and he's like, honey, it's probably not flat, isn't it? Or something. But I think deep down he thinks it is. I mean, my uncle works for NASA still for like 30 years. He's a photographer.
He's an underwater photographer.
He's an underwater photographer. And I mean, my grandpa, he he helped with the invention of the computers. So I mean, my dad, he's awesome. He's really open and accepting. My mom, she's cool. She's sweet, and they don't really. I don't think they think that crazy.
Yeah, we can't all have parents like Will Smith. If we did, there'd be no penises left. For one thing, we would have all cut our penises off.
Got cutting off. And how do you like spending like all your time with me?
I love it. We're one soul in two different entities. Sometimes I feel that. And you can't spell entities without titties.
It's true. In Hindu culture, married couples during their marriage ceremony will cover themselves in turmeric to signify that they are starting their marriage pure and purifying themselves for their love. And it's a cleansing spice, antibiotic, and
antibacterial.
Yeah, it cleans infections.
It's anti-carcinogen.
Mm-hmm.
Has an MAOI property, I believe. And just everything looks better covered in turmeric. I call it tattoo-mericing. And yeah, just the world's a better place when you're golden.
Mm-hmm.
Makes your hair nice, your teeth whiter.
I like the color too. It makes me happy when everything's like a hint of yellow.
Yeah.
And people could think it's dirty all they want, but it's actually one of the cleanest spices. Actually kills like many.
I've noticed also when I'm covered in turmeric, when I'm totally tattoo-meric, it's easier to stare at the sun. You can kind of just like look right at the sun. It doesn't bother you. Even now, these lights don't really bother me in the least bit when I'm covered in turmeric. Glory is to God who begot the heavens and the earth and all that is between it. All the beings in the heavens and the earth exalt his name, yet we know not. We magnify him for his glorious and greatness. Glory be to God, who begots no son and has no partner in his dominion, nor needs any to protect him from humiliation. Yea, we magnify him for his greatness and glory. Glory be to God. Truly the promise of our Lord is fulfilled.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Wait, smush. Quick smush. Quick roll over, quick smush.
إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم Put this out. I go back to the Elohim Waladalin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Reverse smush.
Min shari makalak wa min shari
Back smush.
wa min shari lithfatil rahab wa min shari hasidin idha hasad. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Kuludu rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas. Allahi awasi sufi mi sadori nas.
Smush me, bro.
Min al-jinnati wan nas.
Injection. That's turmeric extract. Favorite position. Quick.
Wait, what?
Favorite position.
Oh. Good night, silly papa.
Good night, Cindy baby.
You don't know nothing about this case shot! Methyl 6-hexylparapiperidine. It's nice. Don't litter.
It's delicious.
No way, you got a cigarette? You just do what society tells you to because you're a brainwashed cattle slave! Want me a cigarette?
Yeah. I was taken and placed in a mental home. Not just any mental home, though. Rockland Psychiatric Ward, which is a kind of a semi-permanent mental home. You have to get a lawyer to get out. And I ended up getting out of there actually the first day. What happened was they took me there, they drugged me, and I awoke while I was being pumped for my semen. And I looked at this nurse and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was sticking tubes in my penis. And she said, "Oh, we're about to pump you for your semen." And I struggled for many years with that memory because I thought I had made it up. I had diarrhea for like 8 months after this experience because they stick electrodes up your ass to electrically shock you into having multiple orgasms. It sounds fun, but it's very painful. And after this happened, I was in the regular psych ward, and one of the patients had held the door open after a tech came through with the food. So he looked at me, I looked at him, I ran through the door, took off running. There was a couple doors that were magnetically locked, but because of the shock of the whole experience and the adrenaline from being pumped for my semen and finally having an escape, I was able to just kind of ram into them and open them. And I left the psych ward and started to walk down the highway. Eventually the cops picked me up like 2 or 3 hours later, walking barefoot in a psych outfit. And I was sent upstate to Syracuse, I believe, where I would remain for 3 months. But that was one of the most craziest experiences of my life. And what they kind of do is they program a dissociative personality into you by doing this, because you start to think like, this didn't happen, it's a delusion. And for that matter, all my beliefs are a delusion, and I don't know anything, and they're right, I'm crazy, and I need to be on these meds. Every time you end up in one of these small rooms where they psychoanalyze you, there's always some kind of loss of consciousness, whether it's from the medication, or they spray a gas, or they give you some sort of injection. And then usually you wake up and they transported your body into bed, into the psych ward, where 9 out of 10 times the first day, a Catholic or Jesuit preacher will come wake you up in the all-black outfit with the little white collar. And I believe that it's actually some sort of sex trafficking thing, because I've woken up and had pubis from someone else or hair from somebody else in my crotch area. I felt like perhaps something happened, and I'm not the only person who I've heard say this.
So every time I was about to be released from an acute center, she would say, no, she needs more help. Get her a home, so if you stay in a hospital long enough, the government's promising to get you housing. They never got me housing, and I was in about 23 mental homes over America in a series of a year, birthday to birthday. It was like November 25th to November 25th of the next year, being hopped around place to place and doing a lot better by like the second month. I was kind of my baseline, normal, and still, changing my meds every few weeks, giving me new stuff, experimenting. And I was in South Carolina in an acute mental health center, and I had recently got prescribed a new stack of meds, just because, why not? And I woke up the next day with like a handful of pubic hair in my crotch, and I had told the nurse that, and showed her it, and said, I have pubic hair, and my roommate's gone, and I don't know if it was who did it and why I have this. It wasn't mine. It was like way different. It was like 2 types, actually, and they didn't do anything. I was insistent on testing it. I held on to it on a napkin and then said, could you do like a rape kit or something? And then I went to the next acute center, and I got to look at my chart for a second, and it said has delusions. She was raped by aliens and has space babies or something. And I was awake then. I wasn't, in a state of confusion, and I never said that, nor did I really even believe in space at that point. So it was hard. It was stressful. It was like being in jail, but even in ways worse. Some ways maybe better, but definitely had that experience, and I was labeled as crazy, and it was very frustrating because I know what I went through, and I know what I believe, and for the system just wanted me to break down. And by the time I was released, I got housing, and we ended up reconnecting, me and him reconnecting, and it was hard being stuck from hospital to hospital. They were flying me to like really fancy retreats, and then in 3 days my insurance wouldn't cover the retreat, so they sent me to an acute center, and my mom didn't want me home, and she was mad at me, so she said, find your way, and they couldn't release me without an address. So it was like I was kind of like, it was like a game of volleyball, and I was the ball, and the hospitals were the people playing. So Alex and I's relationship really brought me closer on the path of God, and God definitely opened our eyes together. as a couple, and as a couple together forever for the rest of our lives, and hopefully it's the next. He opened our eyes together to his way, and we slowly became, I don't know when he was. I think he's been a Muslim for a while, but I was into Islam when we first met, and up until I'm still interested in it, though I don't fully follow a religious constraint at this point. I believe in God in the last day, and I diligently study scripture and the Quran, and I believe that God doesn't command us to follow a religion, but he commands us to serve him and abide by his law, and that's what I am at now. But yeah, that's I'm grateful every day God came to me, and it shows his mercy that he brought me from such a dark part of my life and brought me into such a light part of my life. Yeah, I think demons follow everyone, and the same ones follow everyone, and certain ones follow certain people. And I battle demons, in a metaphysical way with prayer to God and healthy lifestyle, and doing my due diligence and duty in the name of God to really counteract that evil. And yeah, for sure, I have I'm a lot better than I ever was at this point. I'm grateful to God, definitely not dealing with a lot of the stuff I used to. When it came to just impulsive addictions, and everything could be addictive and a drug in this life, but it's about having self-control and not falling into vicious cycles and self-destructive cycles. So I used to be very self-destructive and careless, but now with what I know, it's hard to turn back to that. So in that regards, I'm God shined his light on me. But I definitely get emotional flashbacks from certain things. I'll have just moments where I feel like a demon fly into me, and I have blinding rage I could barely control. It's not violent anger, it's just more I'm just pissed. But then I could understand that is a jinn, or that's the jinn manipulating my emotions, so I could just step back and recite Fatiha, read the Quran, pray to God to exercise me, and I could walk back out as myself, or what I feel as myself. And this is a banana and weed blended thing. Makes eating weed easy. And I guess it looks like this the way I made it. Can't really tell it has I don't know, maybe 2 ounces of CBD weed. Here goes nothing. Delicious.
Let me try that. Delicious. I've never been able to keep the women off me, but I got really lucky with Snort. She's just one of a kind. I can't compare her to anyone I've ever been with. And, my advice to people is you have to go for someone who has stuff in common with you, and just put yourself out there and you'll find them. Have faith in God. And Snort, when I met her, I knew she was the one, but it took a while to get to the point where it is now. We were kind of on and off for a little bit, and then even when we started being together, it took time and patience for it to grow into what it is. But, you know, I have been in a mental home anywhere from 50 to 100 times. It's like a home away from home. It's a vacation for your mind. Depends which one. I like them all except Port Jervis. I just really don't like Port Jervis mental home.
I feel that one's relationships in life will work good if you have a good relationship with God. And if you're not good with God, it shows in your life. And if your love is pure and if your love is for your Creator, His love will come to you in your life, and you will grow in that. You know, you'll grow with love within your heart. It shows.
Yeah. I think everyone has a soulmate, and in the Quran it says that God made everything in pairs, male and female, and that the soul of someone's lover is actually cut from their soul, like an isomer, a molecular cousin.
For a little while, I felt I was really into going to like this Christian church, and I was working there with kids when we were separated, and I was about to actually get baptized as a Christian, but then I realized that I don't take Jesus as God, and I only believe in one God, which I always did. I just kind of like lost it for a second, personally, but teach their own belief. But yeah, honestly, this has been like the best time we've ever spent together. Living here in Pottsville has been like the most love. You know, I felt love for him always, but like I feel like we're the closest now in its own different way. But I definitely I can't live without him in my life. Like, we're together forever, you know, like attached at the hip 24/7. Press the button.
Want to eat healthy? Need protein? What you need is some jumbo squid and olive oil. I like to put a little soy sauce on it. It's 24 grams of protein per serving per container. That's 24 per ration, SA. Here you go. You take the can, soy sauce, a little bit of soy sauce. Comes out just like sushi. It's delicious, really. This would be like $15 on a bed of rice in a sushi restaurant. It's so good. So for $1 or $2, eat 3 cans, 4 cans. You hit 100 grams of protein easy. And then just drink milk the rest of the day. And you'll definitely have enough protein to build muscle. And that's what's important. It's delicious. Here you have the Arctic, the inner 7 continents, the Antarctic ring, and the beyond the Antarctic ring.
And the moon, the black star, the sun, and then the sun beyond the Arctic ring.
And right here, if you can see in the Arctic, they actually have their own sun that's pink, and it goes up and down instead of orbiting in a circle. And over here in Gog and Magog territory, they also have a sun and a moon as well. And obviously a black star too. So you know, we're pretty much surrounded by all sides by the googs and the magoogs. And one day these Antarctic rings are going to melt, and they're going to come rushing from all the four corners of the Earth realm. Anyways.
Bring it back now.
This is actually my favorite type of silica.
It's the best one.
It's the one that's like
pressed balls
sand or
and sand.
clay pressed into sand. You either usually get sand or clear beads of silica. But
It's super zoomed in, so just so you know.
This
We
is the
don't have a
best
drink,
one.
though. I'm not
It doesn't
good at
matter at this point.
Really? I've
You
never
just
done
melt
it
from
without.
snow.
Okay.
It's the best one. This one tastes good.
I'll have a seaweed.
I said best because it's pretty much the most powerful one. It tastes good, you know, it tastes nice.
It's a very like simple flavor. It's
Just eat fast, you know? Here, I'll help you. It's delicious. And you get a snack with it. It's the best part.
It's a paper packet. It's different than
It's in here
before.
somewhere.
Here.
It says,
It's usually plastic, but
desiccant. This
There's a
one's not
baby
labeled,
eating it.
but... So you have your 5 elements. Earth, wind, water, fire, and the void. And when you have silica, it's a type of clay. I mean, is it a type of clay? Well, it's found in sand, it's found in soil. We don't really know what it is or if it's a type of anything. But if you mix earth and wind and water and fire, you get clay. Man is made out of clay. This is confirmed by a pentextual analysis of the Quran, the Bible, and the Torah, but I'm sure it's in other documents as well. So, does silica affect you in a bad way? Absolutely not. Is it good for you? Most definitely. Why? I would have to say, for one thing, we're both very similar substances. For another thing, it's a type of quartz. So it could have like energetic effect. Silicone is used in semiconductors. They usually have a piece of boron, some phosphorus, and in the middle is silica, and that makes the electrons jump from one to another. Carbon and silica tend to combine rather easily. They both have 6 rings in their 6 open seats in their outer ring of valence electrons. So, is chemistry real? Hey, I don't know. I don't think it is. But does silica work? Yes. And I would argue if chemistry is real, it probably changes your density. It makes you smarter, brighter, easier to think. And this probably has something to do with the availability for electrons in the outer ring of the molecule.
also silica is a main substance. Is there anything?
Just some seaweed. Go ahead. Sorry to embarrass you.
No, it's okay.
Go.
Silica is taken out of our diet with genetically modified engineering food and taking it out of our natural vegetables so that we are depleted of it. And
Random
unhealthy.
fact. The most abundant mineral in the human body is silica, and babies have the highest amount of silica.
Like it's depleted.
yeah.
More goes down more as you
Yeah.
age.
Unless you're Kim Kardashian, like she probably has a
She
lot of
gets
silica
injected.
here, but
And
not up here.
No, she has some there. They
Yeah.
just inject it.
Oh yeah. But anyways, I already noticed a difference. I just took the silica. I feel more energetic,
I'm
more
smiling.
talkative, happy. You could see she got more symmetrical. Her teeth are instantly whiter. Her eyes are bigger. Everything. It's like hitting it's like the Senzu beans in Dragon Ball Z when Goku gets all beat up and they give him this little bean and he's back to full health.
That's our senzu beans.
Yeah, it's remarkably like that. And I've cured my mom's Alzheimer's with silica. She doesn't know this, but every now and then I'll lace her coffee with a little bit of the sandy silica, or I'll cook something and throw a packet of silica in it.
This is so pricey today. It's 14. It wasn't 14. Turmeric. It's impossible to find turmeric in Pennsylvania.
So every generation is a little stupider than the next, but Peppa Pig.
Listen to this one, Pete. Listen.
Good night. Bedtime.
Yeah. So we watched Peppa Pig for the first time, and we started talking like how they talk on Peppa Pig.
It's very addicting.
It's like this.
I know how to fly.
And we noticed like they dumbed down the not only the verbiage but the speed, like just the way that they talk on that show in particular. But it's not the only show that's like that. For example, they'll use the noun with a Y at the end as an adjective to describe the noun. So they'll say, this lettuce tastes lettucey.
Shrimpy shrimp.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on.
Yeah, anyway.
We have a lot to do. This life is short. So run.
And again, you have dinosaurs, you know, yet another conspiracy, because if you believe dinosaurs existed, you're more likely to believe in the globe Earth model. And dinosaurs, if they existed, were just lizards in the time when everyone was giants. And, you know, I even call the dinosaur thing into question. All the fossils that you see of dinosaurs are actually just replicas, and they openly admit to that. Again, here you go, a little military propaganda. A lot of the military comes from
dinosaur propaganda.
From Pennsylvania. And, yeah, so we'll carry on.
Honestly, my family make it in Chinese factory. Soundwave?
Where?
Soundwave.
I bet you they sold out, yeah. They have Shockwave.
What happened? Oh, this is a cool cow, though.
Oh,
I think he's cool. The face I would fix it. Did you see this Optimus Prime?
No, let me see.
Cyberverse are sometimes
They have their ups and downs. I don't like the arm.
the arm is so. Why is he missing the camera?
It's supposed to be like he has this Energon axe. Yeah, it looks like they sold out of Soundwave.
Yo, when we do the Disbelievers toy show again, you have to get each character.
Yeah.
Okay, who's this one?
The doctors put me on Zyprexa to stop me from killing y'all. That's what I think about Zyprexa. Let's go. I feel that God wants you to seek out the cures yourself for your own illnesses and not put your trust in quote-unquote doctors. The only thing they do is doctor the recipe, and none of their medications work. The source of all illness are the genies, the archons, the morgellons, and associated with them is the lining of mucus. You get rid of that mucus, you get rid of the sickness, and you get rid of the genie. I mean, they'll be back. It's like fleas. You can't walk or even exist anywhere without them flying in and out of you. It's like there's two realms, two dimensions overlapping each other. And to us in this dimension, we have a body and a soul. Animals have a body and no soul, not at least in the way we understand it. And the genies or archons, they just have a soul and that's it. So they have to have a host. They have to find things to possess. And, they eat and need nourishment like everyone else. And what they seem to eat in their case is bad energy. We conduct bioelectrical magnetic plasma, and they seem to thrive off that sort of energy which is negatively charged. They want our bad emotions and our chemicals we make when our body is stressed. So that's why everyone in this realm is kept in a stressful state. It doesn't have to be that way, but that's the way that it is. Because mainly all of the governments work for the archons or the genies. They summon them with rituals, and they think they're working with them, but they're actually working for them and being used by them. And their home will be a fiery abode. When I close my eyes at night, sometimes I see little lights. And if I meditate on these lights long enough, I'll see a grid. And then I'll go down that grid like a tunnel, and I'll have an outer body experience. And I think that the realm of the archons is literally the unseen realm. Literally, when you close your eyes, what you're not seeing, they live in a realm like that. And maybe when they close their eyes, they see our realm that we see with our eyes open. Even if that's not the case, that kind of dynamic is, that push and pull, it seems to be how they operate. And when morgellons and fibers and stuff come out of your body, I feel that this is a byproduct of the genie. Perhaps it's knots they tie in your nervous system. Perhaps it's just a natural scab from them, exit wound, if you will. But either way, I am entirely convinced that all sickness comes down to the archons, and if you can treat the genie, you can treat the archon, you can treat the illness. That's why silica works. It dries you out so much, they're left with no mucus to feed off of, or whatever it is they eat, the bad energy or something. It conducts more energy too, and they'll start coming out. I'm prescribed this medication because early on, around 17, the senior year of high school, I was labeled bipolar. If my memory serves me correct, I was talking about religion too much, and that set off a lot of alarms at the high school. And I had one teacher put me to see the school psychiatrist. When I saw her, she said I was manic, and that led to a lifelong struggle. The medications they give you do not work. Antipsychotic medications all raise your prolactin levels, your estrogen. They give you the same hormones of a pregnant woman, but anywhere from 10 to 20 to 24, 30 times that amount.
Silica gel.
A lucky find indeed.
It's kind of like a wax.
Yeah, this one you could see it's been waterlogged.
I don't want to eat that one.
Yeah, I might not eat this right away, but it's just good to have in general.
It's fine.
Yeah, sometimes I like to open them, and if I'm not going to eat them, I just throw them back out to the earth, you know? So, yeah, the chemicals they give you, they always make you crazy. It's a revolving door of hospital visits. But it's like that for anything. It's like that, I mean, if you go to the doctor and tell them you got cancer, they're going to give you some kind of therapy or meds to make the cancer worse, then start hacking away at you. And it's just a bad decision. I would never put my trust in another person for something so serious, especially when dealing with the archons or demons or genies. You really can't go to seek out another person. You have to find what is inviting them in you in your own life and treat it. You won't be able to outright eliminate them. There's just too many of them, and they operate in ways we can't possibly understand. If I take the medication, it makes me very, very manic. Like, I won't be able to stop talking. I'll be talking to random strangers. Perhaps now I get a little less manic each time because I kind of know what's going to happen. But the medications, they just do so much bad things to your body. I'm convinced that They're just feeding the archons and feeding the demons with these medications. And pharmaceuticals means black magic in Latin. Pharma is black and maceuticals is magician. Since ridding myself of the genies, I have a lot more empathy for others. I realize that most of the decisions I made were giving into their whisperings within my own symbiotic, parasitic infection that I believe everyone has. We're born into this world already possessed by them. And breaking free of the possession is what's really hard, but it is doable. People break free all the time. But there's different degrees of success.
Like stepping out of the matrix,
yeah.
so to speak.
Yeah, silica is definitely like the red pill in the matrix, or the green one, or whichever one was a good one.
And I lived this life for the next life. And if I die without belief, then I wasted my life. So I'd say that, yeah. I must do more for others. I must fast and every month and pray and not fall off that and not transgress. God willing.
God willing. I think the government is perfect. All of the governments of all the world. Because when people do bad things, they're doing it to themselves. They choose to do it. As long as you can get food, you have a place to live, you're fine. You could always make it. God will give you what you need. It's when people buy into the act and act upon what they're being taught is when they do bad. And life has always been an illusion. It's always been a test. And the government's just, proctoring the test to you. So
it's like since the times of Adam and Eve with the first temptation of Eve and Adam with the forbidden fruit. And now it's like that, but much, much grander scale of temptation, forbidden fruit from satanic army.
Everything from this realm is in such a way that it's like crack. And everything in this realm is like crack because you go to buy that first rock and you're thinking in your head it's going to be so great. And it always falls short of expectations. It always runs out just a little too quick. You never quite have enough, and happiness is really unattainable. You can have contentment with having faith in God, and God will give you blessings and they'll make you happy, but true happiness is unattainable in this life. And in that sense, everything is a bit like crack because you may enjoy it, but immediately afterwards you just want more and more and more. So I think that someone who's truly rich is someone who is happy having less. And once you find that, and I wouldn't even call it happiness, it's more of contentment. And once you find that, you're good. But most people forget, and a lot of times they never come back to that realization.
At this point in life, I feel having kids wouldn't be best for me, though God knows best. I personally, either if I'm young or just the system is sick, I don't feel like bringing a child into this world. If anything, I want to help others, who's already here.
Yeah, I think at this point I'm personally unemployable, mainly because my beliefs make it extremely hard for me to socialize, and I'm trying to start up some kind of business of my own. We have an Etsy page, we work on the cartoons, but I would love to have like an actual job that I sit down and do something, but at this point, it's just so hard to talk to people. I mean, if I had to come to work and listen to someone talk about Game of Thrones or, the football game or whatever game it is, I can't personally think of anything to say, and I think I would come off as rude, but I just really don't know how to talk to people. Mental illness most of the time is a normal person's normal reaction to a fucked up situation, and most of those people aren't crazy. I've met very, very few mentally ill people. I would say if anyone is mentally ill, it's the general public. It's the average person. But I wouldn't even go that far to throw labels on people. I think most of these things that they say are illnesses are just a normal reaction to a really messed up situation. And I'm probably the least mentally ill person I know. Besides me and Snort and a couple other people, Sam Garens, I find most everyone is crazy. I'm crazy too, but we're all crazy, but I don't think it's an illness. I just think it's well, I guess psychosis means in Latin to be without society. So am I psychotic? Yes, I'm definitely without society. Am I crazy? At times I can be, but am I mentally ill? Most definitely not. It's not an illness, it's just a normal reaction to a really messed up situation. The drugs will make somebody mentally ill in the same sense, the cancer drugs will give someone cancer, the AIDS drugs will give someone AIDS. But in order to really judge if someone's crazy, you would have to be a third party that has knowledge beyond knowledge. So really the only person who can say who's crazy or not is God.
O Lord, I seek refuge in you from all things, for you are the only one who can protect me. You give me life, and you will inevitably give me death, and you will give me a resurrection on the last day where my good deeds will be weighed against my bad. And may I be amongst the winners on the last day, and may right guide me and my husband, and may all the believers be blessed in this, and heal me and heal my soul and my body, and protect me from black magic, evil man, whispers of man and sin, and God willing. In the name of God, the Almighty and the Merciful, praise belongs to God, the Lord of all mankind, the Almighty, the Merciful, Master of the day of judgment. Thee alone will we serve, and from thee alone will we seek help. Guide thou us to the straight path, the path of those whom thou hast favored, not of those who incur wrath, nor of those who go astray. In the name of God, the Almighty and the Merciful, that is the covenant about which there is no doubt, guidance for those of prudent fear, those who believe in the unseen and uphold the duty, and spend of what we provide them, and those who believe in what is sent down to thee, and what was sent down before thee, and of the hereafter are certain, those are upon guidance from their Lord, and these are the successful. Those who are indifferent to the warning, it is the same to them whether thou warnest them, or thou hast not warnest them. They do not believe. Aleph Lam Ra, a decree we sent down to thee, that thou bring forth mankind from darkness into light, by the leave of their Lord to the path of the mighty and the praiseworthy. God it is whom belongs what is in the heavens and what is on the earth. And woe to those who spurn guidance while claiming virtue from a severe punishment. Those who love the life of this world over the hereafter, and forsake the path of God, and would make it crooked. These are in profound error, and he sent a messenger only in the tongue of his people, that he might declare to them. God sends astray whom he wills, and guides whom he wills, and he is the mighty in our lives. I salute to God. He is the only, almighty, the creator of everything. May I return to him on the last day, and may my good deeds multiply and outweigh the bad. And may I be granted into the gates of paradise, into high blissful paradise. God Lord. For God, you are living and merciful guide. Those who don't know about prayer to the path of prayer, and open those whose eyes are healed over, so that they may see the truth and the light of God. And shalom. Glory to God.
When shadows fall and trees whisper day is ending, my thoughts go ever wending home. When crickets call, my heart is forever yearning once more to be returning home. And when the hills conceal the setting sun, stars begin to peep in one by one, one by one. Night covers all, and though fortune may forsake me, sweet dreams will ever take me